does it feel that your longtime law school buddy, J.D. Vance, has now been selected to be the Vice President of the United States?
Very proud of him. And I just think he is a good choice. He's an original thinker. He's America first. And I just think that was so important in the pick.
I hope that J.D. Vance today challenges Kamala Harris to switch debates, because she would wipe the floor with him.
How do you think that debate's going to play out?
I think it will be, if it's Kamala Harris, I think that J.D. will mop the floor. But we will see if it's Kamala Harris or not.
You know, he feels that there was a hand of God involved. He does believe that there was divine intervention here.
Hey fam, welcome back to One and Done. As I said in my previous videos, we're going to be covering the appointment of J.D. Vance as Trump's VP. Now, if you're like me, you don't know that much about J.D. Vance, but Jesse Waters, Judge Janine, break it down for us. And one of my faves, Vivek Ramaswamy, who went to law school with J.D., both from Ohio, and he has a great understanding of J.D. and the qualities he's going to bring to this extremely strong ticket, the Trump-Vance ticket. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. It's taken us about 7 months to get to the 1,500 sub club. We're aiming for 2,000, so I'd much appreciate a like, a subscribe, share, and don't forget to ring the notification bell to keep up to date with all of my videos. And without delay, let's roll that tape.
All right, so we did have big news today. President Trump announced his VP pick. Jesse, it is the senator from Ohio, the junior senator, J.D. Vance. He won in 2022. So he's been a senator just for a couple of years. Kind of reminds me of Barack Obama.
Yeah, exactly like Barack Obama.
That just occurred to me. But as soon as I said it, Jessica was like, oh, yeah, right. 9 years.
Well, first of all, Jessica, it's good to have you back around the table.
Thank you.
You were so missed, and you just happened to be pregnant at the perfect time and deliver this baby when you missed the Trump trial and Biden's meltdown, the debate, and the attempted assassination.
We have good fertility mojo.
Great timing, Jessica. All right. So Vance is good. I like him. They like him because he's great on television. He is composed, and he'll be calm when he prosecutes Kamala. We call her Laffin, Laffin'. And he's great on these mainstream media shows. He's just very moderate and then hits you in the face eloquently. But his biography's stunning. His biography, he's a poor kid from a steel town in Ohio. His dad wasn't there. His mom was an addict, raised by his grandmother in one of these towns that was hollowed out by these dumb trade deals. He's kind of has the biography of populism. And he goes and joins the Marines, and then he comes back, goes to the Ohio State, and then Yale, which was my safety school, and then becomes this brilliant author and also a venture capitalist. But he's not a corporate Republican. He's for the American worker, and that really distinguishes him from a lot of the older Republicans. And then his age obviously distinguishes him. I think he's younger than Jessica. She pointed that out in the green room. And she's not upset about it. But ideologically, he's America first. Janine touched on it last week. He doesn't want to get entangled with these alliances. He's for strong borders, strong tariffs, and just has a very nice family structure. And he'll be a great future leader in the party. But he's not being anointed. He's not going to be, Trump's not saying you're going to take the MAGA torch and run with it. He's going to have to work for the nomination in 28, and he probably will do a good job.
Now, to be honest with you, I didn't know too much about J.D. Vance. Now, I've seen some interviews on the mainstream liberal media. He did extremely well. He tore the you-know-whats out of them, but did it eloquently, did it smoothly, and did it without breaking a sweat. Now, I didn't know his backstory. Very interesting to see that. Now, I've said many times on my channel that Vivek Ramaswamy would have been my pick. And of course, I know a lot more about Vivek. I followed his campaign right through, and I think Trump definitely has to find somewhere important for Vivek to shine. Now, apparently JD and Vivek went to law school together.
Great to see you here, Vivek. How does it feel that your longtime college buddy, hometown friend, you guys went to law school buddy, excuse me. How does it feel that your longtime law school buddy, J.D. Vance, has now been selected to be the Vice President of the United States?
Very proud of him. And I just think he is a good choice. He's an original thinker. He's America first. And I just think that was so important in the pick. And so I'm very happy for him. And you think about President Trump. You want someone by his side that he's going to be able to trust to really get the job done. He was a fighter in the Senate. I think if there's only one negative, and I don't, mean this as a negative, I mean as a compliment, is he leaves a big vacuum behind him in the Senate. But he's going to be an outstanding vice president. And I'm going to do everything I can. I think Trump-Vance is probably the most formidable presidential ticket that I've seen in my lifetime, that any of us have seen.
Yeah, I think it's a strong ticket. One thing I want to highlight and ask you is, I think J.D. Vance is arguably one of the biggest supporters of President Trump in the Senate. But, he has made some negative comments. I personally think that that's a strong point. I think that they can use this to show how you can go from being a Trump hater to being one of the biggest supporters of President Trump.
If we want to win this election by the margin we want, we need to convince people who did not vote for Trump in 2016.
I agree.
And who did not vote for Trump in 20.
I agree.
So we as a party can't ostracize the people who didn't vote for Trump in 16 or in 20. We have to bring them in.
Yeah.
Because we're going to win this by the broadest margin possible. So I think that what some people may say is a negative, I think could actually be used as positive.
I agree. I think so.
I'm excited about it.
Me too. Thanks.
Yeah, very interesting. So Vivek is a good sport, but I think he knew quite a while ago that he wasn't going to be VP. Now, in relation to JD, I think that this is an extremely strong ticket, but not necessarily the most popular pick. And the reason I say that is that Donald Trump doesn't have to worry about the most popular pick now because he knows he's in a position of power. I think he knows that he's already going to be dragging some of the independents, particularly after what's happened in the last 48 hours. Now, can you imagine JD going up against Mamala? That debate would be horrific.
I watched all of her speeches for the last 2 weeks. She's a different. I thought she was fantastic 4 years ago. Anyone that hasn't watched, I hope that J.D. Vance today challenges Kamala Harris to 6 debates because she would wipe the floor with him. She's for whatever I will stay out of what the Democrats decide to do at the top of the ticket. But if they make it.
Oh my goodness, that is delusion 101.
I heard one of the reasons Donald Trump liked J.D. Vance is he's known to be a really good debater and he'd be good against Kamala Harris. How do you think that debate's going to play out?
I think it will be, if it's Kamala Harris, I think that J.D. will mop the floor, but we will see if it's Kamala Harris or not. J.D.'s thoughtful, and he's somebody who I've engaged in, a lot of thoughtful discussions on even topics where he and I don't entirely agree, but he's pushed me and I've pushed him to think about things in different ways. And that's what we need more of in our country. It's rare in our politics, and I'm rooting for more of that. So I wish him well.
When it comes to this election, what do you think is going to be the one thing that really decides who wins?
I think it's going to be a hunger for pride, actually. You could say the economy, you could say the border, but I think people are hungry to be proud of this country again. And whichever president is going to make you more proud of being an American, that's what people are hungry for right now more than anything. And I think right now, runaway, without question, hands down decision, that's Donald Trump.
And we're all horrified by what happened to Donald Trump, the assassination attempt.
Yes.
What are your feelings now, a few days beyond this? That fist bump was iconic, but where does America go to from here?
Well, I think we live in a moment where people are hungry for national unity. I think it was a miracle that Donald Trump was not struck, and we are lucky to be given that chance. Now, what are we going to do with it? And my hope is we live in a moment where we can still disagree vehemently with the left's ideology, but without seeing our fellow neighbors as our enemies. And I think we can do both of those things at once. How well we do it will determine how successful we are as a party.
I still can't get over how articulate Vivek is. Such clear messaging. So Donald Trump, you really need to have him somewhere in your cabinet. This is a once-in-a-generation talent. And one thing we do agree on is that J.D. Vance would absolutely wipe the floor of Kamala Harris. Now I'm looking forward to Judge Janine's response.
Judge, can you give us a sense of President Trump's frame of mind? We're 48 hours since the assassination attempt. He is here in Milwaukee. I don't know exactly when we're going to hear from him, but we do know that he gave a pretty remarkable interview and that was ran in the New York Post, in which he said, I have been given a chance to unite. What do you think?
Well, I've spoken to him a couple of times in those 48 hours. And, it's amazing. It's just been 48 hours since he was knocked down by a shot in that iconic moment where his fist is up. He's down with the American flag in the background. And it shows that, and I believe that will be a statue one day. I mean, I don't think it's so iconic. It's just so telling of the moment. But the fact that he made a decision to get up. He even said he wanted to continue the speech. And he talked about being defiant in the face of wickedness and that he would continue to go forward, continue with the Republican National Convention, announce the vice presidential candidate. You know, he feels that there was a hand of God involved. He does believe that there was divine intervention here. And I think that in picking J.D. Vance, Donald Trump is feeling bullish. I think that, you know, there was those who said, you know, you have to pick a woman, you have to pick a minority, you have to pick someone from a swing state. Well, you know, J.D. Vance is from Ohio. I think Trump is 10 points up in Ohio. But J.D. Vance's story is a story of America. I mean, Jesse made it clear. I mean, he came from next to nothing with a mother who had a lot of problems. And he went to Yale and he went into the Marines after 9/11. He's got 3 young kids. He's married to a woman who's an attorney. And it tells me that it's MAGA now and MAGA in the future. And that's what Donald Trump is interested in. He loves this country. He believes that J.D. Vance's policies are now aligned with his, and so he's comfortable with it. He's comfortable with a former Iraq veteran. And I think that this is a great pick for him. And I can't wait to see the Vance-Kamala debate.
Oh, yes. Popcorn and milk duds. We are going to be there for that.
Absolutely agree with Judge Janine. I think Donald Trump made this decision based on his position of power and strength. Now, it sort of surprised me when I heard her say that he wanted to get up and continue the speech. But after some of the stories I've heard and what I've seen from Trump, it doesn't really surprise me. Now, the media's already started a smear campaign against JD, and I guess only time will tell. Now, this is another part of Vivek Ramaswamy that's super impressive. He really knows his history, and he's drawing parallels from the Democrats back in the Lincoln assassination to Donald Trump and the Democrats of today.
You have a Democrat media that has called a Republican president a tyrant, a dictator, said it would be the end of the United States of America as we know it, said he would make us a laughingstock on the global stage. And those are exact quotes, actually, of what they said about Abraham Lincoln. Saw the Lincoln hat. You might have wanted me to remember that. Those were words that the Democrat-led media said about the first ever Republican president before he was shot and assassinated in 1865. Wow. So think about that in the moment that we live in today. We came within, I mean, Lincoln actually spoke at this convention. It was at a Republican convention. It was at a state convention, Republican state convention, I think in 1858, when he said a house divided cannot stand. That was on the eve of a nation that was on the brink of civil war. That's right. I think we came within a hair's breadth of a second civil war in this country, and we avoided it. Yes. And I think it's because God intervened. And I believe that he has given us a chance to answer his call. Amen.
Very impressive man. So there has to be some sort of opening, vacancy, opportunity for his talents to be used.
So there will be an absence in the Senate. Governor Mike DeWine is going to be making an appointment. Could we see a Senator Ramaswamy?
The truth is, I would strongly consider it if asked. I'd also want to have an open conversation with President Trump about where I could have the biggest impact on the future of the country. For me, my top passion and sense of purpose as well is tackling the administrative state. And I think that that exists in cancerous ways at the federal level. It exists in all 50 states in this country, too. And shutting down that administrative state, that shadow government, is what gives me the greatest sense of purpose and impact. There are elements of that that need to be done through the executive branch. There are elements of that that frankly need to be done through the legislative branch too, in laying out the pathway for reclaiming accountability to the political branches of government, particularly the lawmaking branch where lawmakers are elected rather than unelected bureaucrats who wield that power today. So both of those could be ways to take that challenge on. And, you know, that's for after President Trump wins. That's the real goal, is first achieve success. And then after that, I'll be open-minded to the different possibilities.
Now, when it comes to the administrative state, Vivek hasn't changed his position one tiny bit. So I definitely urge Donald Trump to make some important position available for him. Maybe it's in the Senate, maybe AG. Now, just overall, what this whole thing shows us is the depth that the Republican Party has right now. Donald Trump as president, J.D. Vance as vice. You've got Byron Donalds in the shadows. You've got Vivek Ramaswamy. And that's only scratching the surface. Doug Burgum, a successful governor and businessman. Vivek, successful businessman. And even though he hasn't really been in politics, he's been successful in arguing his points and then also embarrassing race hustlers, DEI, woke, all the ideologies that are making the West weak. Now, as you can see, the Republican convention is well and truly underway. Donald Trump did make a grand entrance, and I'll possibly cover that in my next video. So let's wrap this one up, folks. Don't forget to leave your comments, your thoughts in the comment section. I'll jump in there as I normally do. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like, smash the subscribe, ring the notification bell. We're on target to get to 2,000 subs, and I appreciate your time to drop in to check out One and Done. Take care until next time, and I'll catch you in the next video.